Samsung's overall strategy, and specifically in the B2B space, is three things: innovation, security and manageability with Knox, and then the third is openness. There's a couple 100 million devices out there that are AI coming out of 2024, and we think that'll reach about 800 million this year.
I'm here with Tyler Gipson from Samsung on the business side, and we're going to have a quick conversation about the day and his part of the world, what it's been like, and what we're looking forward to after the launch of these new devices that were very exciting today.
Yeah, perfect.
So thanks for taking the time. Maybe we can start with just a quick look back on 25, and from our perspective for the handset market, probably performed better than we had anticipated, especially with some of the geopolitical turmoil that materialized, and in the US specifically tied to carrier movements in terms of new leadership at some of the carriers, really aggressive promotional activity. So I think better than anticipated, but better than hoped for at the start of the year. So maybe give us a quick rundown of what you saw in 25 and in general for Samsung and for your part of the business as well.
Yeah, I think as we reflect on 2025, to your point, it was a pretty strong year, and specifically in the B2B space was, I'll say, a very strong year for us. Maybe a couple data points. One that we've publicly shared at a global level: Samsung Electronics, from a mobile perspective, in Q4 announced double-digit profit in the mobile business. But then when you kind of hone into the US business, we actually saw double-digit growth in what you'd probably call our corporate-owned or project-based opportunities with our customer, and a couple sectors within that have really helped drive our growth are retail, healthcare, and even public safety, believe it or not. And so we're really excited about 25, really excited about the momentum we built with our partners and with our customers. And then, of course, it's hard not to be excited about 2026, and AI has been a theme for a couple of years now, and we continue to build on that, and we'll spend some time talking about it today. But there's a couple 100 million devices out there that are AI eligible coming out of 2024. We doubled that in 2025 to about 400 million, and we think that'll reach about 800 million this year. And analysts like yourself have predicted that by the time we get to 2028, more than half of those will be AI eligible in the B2B space. And so we feel excited. We're excited about the future.
Yeah,
we're excited about the future.
I think that's a great point. I think it's been a fast-moving couple of years now, but now with the Galaxy S26 launch, really the third generation already of kind of was positioned today as well during the keynote as the AI phone, and moving even beyond that into Agentic AI, and I think the changes that come with that, I think really exciting stuff. So maybe then talk a little bit about today and what we saw today. Obviously, we saw the new range of flagship devices. We saw some new earbuds as well. But I think the main point really with the outstanding new features on the Ultra. I think a huge focus on the Ultra variant on the range, and new AI capabilities, new partnerships, new display technology that really are outstanding. So just give us a quick rundown on your thoughts on the day and kind of the key points for you.
Yeah, I was really excited with how TM started off by saying this is a true Agentic AI phone, right? We're 2 years into this evolution. This will be our third S-Series flagship release, and the vision we laid out today truly is a seamless AI experience for all, and one that reduces the friction and makes it easier for all of us to engage in Agentic AI. In the end, what we were really trying to do is make it easier for our consumers to start working with AI, and then, of course, as we look to the B2B space, to really figure out how we work that into their workflows. And I think when we talk to our B2B customers, the number one thing that comes up is Agentic AI, right? And how do we put it to work for us? And so I was really excited to see what we unveiled today. And some of the things like just presenting information to you in a proactive way, and then also allowing you to taking action on your behalf as well, are some of the things we're excited about today. And then, of course, the Buds 4 as you want to interact with this device from a more natural, even voice-enabled way, buds become very important with that, especially if you consider yourself as a frontline worker, maybe a customer service, something that's you're out and you don't have time to look at your phone. We really see the integration of our ecosystem as key to that.
Yeah, and I think that it really saw some great demonstrations on the ability to control and interact with the buds and via the buds to the phone to really enable kind of that seamless multimodal interaction and really have you gesture control with your head to take or reject calls and that kind of thing. It's really a great way to combine multiple device form factors to really present a kind of a really integrated solution for somebody that's working or can't constantly check the phone for next steps and all that kind of stuff. Really, I think that was really a great demonstration as well that we saw earlier.
Yeah.
And I think you hinted at already at kind of this development that we saw in 2025 and through the evolution, kind of the going to more AI doing more, being more present in the experience and doing more for you after a prompt or with a prompt and the consumer is still staying in control. And I think that's a really interesting concept too, I think, in terms of what you already hinted at in terms of the business world, trying to present options to really help drive AI deeper into workflows, but at the same time present a way to retain control and privacy to not just have a prompt go out and then something happens and there's an end result, but nobody really knows what happened. So I think that I think that it helps really keep a business in control of what their employees do and the data that they're using and sharing and interacting with.
We could talk a long time on this. We've been on this journey for 2 years, as you know. I think the last time you and I spoke was at the Flip Fold 7 launch, and we talked a little bit about sort of multimodality at that point. What we talked about today really is Galaxy AI is sort of this agentic AI orchestration platform in the system that we're doing a lot of deep integration into the software layer with our partners, obviously Google and Gemini. We also announced partnership with Perplexity. And then when you look at that, how does the phone work across applications? We all kind of think of AI, I think, as an app we go in and we ask an answer and or a question and we get an answer. This is really going to be designed so when it sees the context on your screen, hey, I'm meeting Gerrit for lunch tomorrow, find me a restaurant, book open table and an Uber, and help me make that very seamless. You can very much see that carrying into the business space, right? If you look at the business space, hey, pull up the notes from the last time Gerrit and I spoke. Where did we meet last? What actions did I maybe have? And summarize those for me. And so all that will come, right, as we work with various partners to integrate that. And then the other thing is to really allow businesses to manage that. I think that's been one of the bigger challenges in general of AI adoption is figuring out how you work within the business workflow to manage that. And so there's a lot to unpack there, but we're very excited about the future. And then
the interaction with businesses and their data and employees, and how has the discussion around BYOD and COPE changed or not changed with kind of this in mind? Because I think is it now more, I think for a while BYOD is a solution to not have to invest in the hardware and everybody's just, you manage it or you don't manage it, you manage it to a certain level. But now with kind of these, on-device capabilities and connected to the cloud AI capabilities, how has that dynamic changed in your talking to your customers or potential customers and how they see kind of this hardware play out now? Are they saying, if we're going to have AI running across our kind of fleet of devices, we need to have more ownership of that? Or how does that change, or has it changed?
We've certainly seen, I think I'd characterize, we've seen customers move to a corporate-owned environment. However, I probably wouldn't characterize as a mass shift yet. We spend a lot of time, though, talking to customers about how AI works and in what architectures it works. And we feel like we are sort of leading the way with the hybrid architecture that allows us to engage in customers and say, we can deploy this however you need it versus one way or the other. And so we talk a lot about on device.
Yeah.
We talk about a lot about what goes in the cloud.
Yeah.
We talk about what configurability they have as administrators and how it works with their MDM, where their data is placed. We talked about the personal data engine today. Do you want to turn that on or off to learn from the phone or not, right? And those are all decisions that corporations have to make, quite honestly. And out of data security, out of risk tolerance, out of all those things. So that's the discussion we had. As I said, some of them have gone to that corporate environment for that. I think we'll see more and more absolutely have to be in a managed environment, and how they get those devices could still vary. But there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, more complexity in the ecosystem now. I think probably a really good opportunity for somebody like yourself and Samsung to really present a platform to take some of that complexity and help reduce the friction, even though there has to be some form of complexity because your data privacy and all that kind of stuff. But I think a really a great or powerful opportunity to present kind of a complete solution that can help make some tough choices and manage those effectively.
Yeah, I think that's right. Certainly data security and data sovereignty has been one of the foremost, I'll say, concerns. I think what we're all starting to realize is the workflow integration is the next major step, especially some of these well-established Fortune 500, been around a long time. Like it's hard to integrate in that workflow. And so Samsung's overall strategy, and specifically in the B2B space, is three things. Innovation, which we're talking a lot about here today. Security and manageability with Knox and the various things we do with Knox and integrate with other MDMs to allow corporations to manage that and not have to replace that. And then the third is openness. Right, you talked about openness. So we now have a couple different AI partnerships that we have, Google being the primary one, Galaxy AI underneath, and then starting to extend this out to other applications, whether they're existing applications or potentially even proprietary applications built by a B2B customer of ours to integrate that. And so I think that's kind of the next phase of the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Lastly, on that subject, how do you see the role of the carrier in this evolving space? They're also obviously doing their own things in terms of AI integration on various in the network directly or as part of kind of the customer-facing platforms. How does that interact with you? How do you see that role changing or not changing?
I don't. First and foremost, the carriers are significant partners of ours, both on the consumer and B2B side. As you can imagine, a significant amount of our flagship business goes through them, even through a B2B perspective. And so we absolutely love working with them. At a very simplistic level, I kind of think of like peanut butter and jelly. Like they have a broadband network that they want to sell broadband. We want to sell phones. Now, that is way more simplistic. Where our value comes in, I think, to really partner with the carriers is we will go out and build solutions. We will go out and build solutions with third-party ISVs, other hardware partners, do integration so that when we go in together, we can deliver a solution. If we need to do a little bit more heavy lifting in that, we will. If they've got a practice stood up that they've already done the heavy lifting, we'll integrate into that. And so we try to be flexible with our partners, and we try to pull in also our tier 2 partners as well that help us deliver some of these outcomes, things like maybe a mobile point of sale solution, right? The carriers probably aren't going to go build a mobile point of sale solution. You wouldn't think about this as a mobile point of sale, but this is a mobile point of sale solution, right? And so the work we do to integrate that and deliver solutions from them is where we tend to win together.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and then lastly, I think one of the highlights for me, and I think you're also very excited about the privacy display technology on the Ultra. I think a really innovative approach to changing or providing real world benefits to users right away without having to say much. But it's really interesting from just a consumer perspective, but also especially from the business and enterprise perspective. So take us through that, through your excitement on that one.
Obviously we start to hear about these things a little bit ahead of time, and we started to hear about privacy screen, and you thought, how's this going to work, right? Honestly, if you step back and you think about Samsung's long heritage and mastery of display technologies, as well as building amazing flagship devices, and then the software to pin it all together, and you kind of look at what we did. Basically, we've configured the software to work with the hardware to change the way the pixels show light. so that in given applications, I can have a privacy screen on.
Yeah.
And I, as a user, I can select that. Do I want it on my banking app, but not my social app? Do I want it on my notifications, but not other things? And then for a business user, we will be able to integrate that into their MDM that they will be able to select that. So if it's Outlook, and I always want that privacy screen turned on when you open Outlook, we'll be able to do that. Or if it's financial statements or whatever. And so I tell you, we had a lot of customers there today. I was able to talk to 4 or 5 really large customers in various verticals of ours. Every single one of them said, I'm going to be asked about this tomorrow by my executive team. One of them said, I'm going to order 3,000 of these next week because I know I'm going to need them. But the energy and excitement, I'm sure you saw it there, was immense, and it works. I know you and I were like comparing notes here, right? Like the ability to like see that as it turns on, I mean, is just phenomenal, right? And then if you look at it straight on, it works really well. So it stole the show. I like all the AI integration and everything we're doing because I still think that is the future. But this one stole the show.
It answers a question, or it, addresses a concern. I think that, as you guys showed as well, that everyone has in terms of, am I in a place where I'm sharing too much, or I don't want to, everybody to see my notifications come in while I'm showing pictures of the dogs or whatever. So it's a really great innovation and great feature to have with such a broad set of applications and tools that can all be impacted by that.
And we've all been on the plane, right? We've all been on the plane. Should I read this right now? And so I think there's the world of possibilities. And again, back to sort of the configurability of it, always a strength of ours, and then providing customers a way on how to work through that configurability so that it's not over cumbersome, right? And so once you play with it, there's a couple on-off buttons as a user, and then we'll help businesses also do that as well. So very, very excited about the technology.
Awesome. One of the other features that Samsung showed off during the event, and it ties really well into the privacy aspect and security aspect, is the call screening feature. So talk us through that. I think that's been an ongoing development as well, but really important, I think.
Another area, we talked about a lot of our larger customers and their take on the show. We also spend a lot of time with our partners as we approach sort of the small and medium business segment. And as you can imagine, in the small and medium business segment, they need to do more with their device, right? They don't have the option to buy 5 different things, a phone, a scanner, a printer, a mobile point of sale solution, et cetera. And so we've been down the path of really integrating mobile point of sale solutions into our devices and then also packaging them around them for higher end deployments. What I was excited about today is the call screening feature. Again, if you think about a small business, a sole prop business, somebody that runs their own physical therapy clinic or own whatever clinic, that if they're in with the patient, they want to be present with that patient. However, business is important to them. And so if it's an incoming call that says, I want to set up another appointment or I need to do something, they want to take that call, versus if it's spam or something else, or somebody just looking to get an update, they can use the agent to say, hey, what are you calling about? And leave me a brief message so that I can see it and I can choose whether I pick it up or not. And so I think just, again, making life easier for our customers that buy our devices to either run their business or to automate actions in their business, call screening will be a very big feature for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important and really ties well into all the other aspects as well to help take friction out of all the different processes. Exactly, especially for a mom and pop shop or what have you.
That's right.
Awesome. Thank you. That's all we got. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it as always. Thanks, Gerrit.
Thank you.